The last 2 weeks, I got the privilege of teaching our kids at church a memory verse, Romans 5:8.
Romans 5:8. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5:8.
Now, as you notice in that clip, we do hand motions. Now, I made that same video for Proclaim Ministries on our app and our Proclaim Ministries kid page. The memory verse hand motion a little different because it was live with those kids. So I'll let them come up with hand motions. But if you didn't catch what we did, it goes like this. Romans 5:8. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5:8. Now you can imagine after teaching that verse for 2 weeks straight, it's in my head, right? It's in my head. So I started reading today during my devotional time, just reading the context of Romans chapter 5 and just going through what it teaches. This is not a kid's verse. I mean, it's not just for kids, it's for adults too. But the passage is so amazing as it talks about being justified through faith. But I want to look at verse 6 through 9, that's verse 6 through 11 real quick, just to give you some thoughts about just the sacrifice. And as I told the kids in the memory verse we taught, God just didn't scream from heaven, "I love you." He demonstrated. He put that love on display for the world to see and for the world to receive. Romans chapter 5, starting at verse 6. You see, at just the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person, someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Verse 9, since we have now been justified by His blood, how much more shall we be saved from God's wrath through Him? For if while we were God's enemies, we were reconciled to Him through death of His Son, how much more, having been reconciled, shall we be saved through His life? Verse 11, not only is this so, but we also boast in God through our Lord Jesus Christ, through whom we have now received reconciliation. That God displayed His love for us. He put it on display in an amazing way. It was a gruesome way. The death of Christ, He suffered, He bled, He died on a cross. And it was a gruesome death, but also a beautiful death, because God went through that length to display, to demonstrate, to show His love for us while we were still sinners. I love that part. I can talk to the kids when we taught this verse about, some people might die for someone they love or a good person. I die for my wife. I love my wife. Baby, I die for you, right? But when anybody die for a villain, a criminal, how many people would die? And so we asked the kids about what villains they know through cartoons or TV shows, right? Somebody said the Joker. So would you die for the Joker? Would you die for him? They're like, no. Well, guess what? You and I have sinned just like the Joker. We have sinned against a holy God. So yes, it's a great verse to memorize. I think you should put the memory. I'll put a link in the description so you can learn the hand motions too. But Romans 5:8, but God demonstrates His own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. Romans 5:8.